dear grandchildren, come closer now, closer. You think the world sleeps at night, don't you? You think when the sun goes down, everything peaceful and quiet settles over this earth like a blanket. But let me tell you something, my darlings. The night shift workers know better. They know what walks among us when decent folk are tucked away in their beds. They see things that should stay hidden. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about a young soul who learned this truth the hard way. A story that came to me from someone who worked the graveyard shift at a 7-Eleven on the edge of town. Listen carefully, grandchildren, and when you're done, well, you might want to leave a light on tonight. My name's irrelevant now, but I can tell you I was 23 when this happened. Fresh out of college, with a useless degree in communications and a mountain of student debt that made my stomach hurt every time I checked my bank account. The 7-Eleven job wasn't my dream, but it paid $12 an hour, and the night shift came with an extra $2.50. I needed every penny. The store sat at the intersection of Route 47 and Morrison Road, one of those places that exists in the dead space between suburbs and rural nothing. During the day, we'd get truckers, construction workers, the occasional soccer mom buying overpriced milk. But from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., it was just me, the hum of fluorescent lights, and whatever came through that door. My manager, a tired-looking guy named Derek with perpetual coffee breath, gave me exactly 10 minutes of training on my first night. Register's straightforward. Don't accept hundreds after midnight. If someone looks sketchy, there's a panic button under the counter. He pointed to a red button covered in dust. Been here 6 years, never used it. You'll be fine. The first 2 weeks were exactly what you'd expect. Boring as hell. I'd restock shelves, mop floors that didn't need mopping, watch TikToks on my phone during the dead hours between 2 and 5 a.m. I'd get maybe 10 customers a night, insomniacs buying energy drinks, drunk college kids stumbling in for nachos and Slurpees. A regular, this old guy named Earl, who worked security somewhere, always came in at 3:15 a.m. for black coffee and a pack of Marlboros. "You're new," he said, that first time, his eyes studying me with an intensity that made me uncomfortable. "Yeah, started last week." He paid in exact change, counting out quarters with deliberate slowness. "You notice anything strange yet?" "Strange how?" Earl picked up his coffee, that weird smile still on his face. "You will." I laughed it off. Thought he was just another night shift weirdo trying to spook the new guy. I wish that's all it was. The first truly odd thing happened on a Tuesday. 3 weeks into the job. It was 1:47 a.m. I remember because I'd just checked my phone, debating whether to text my ex back. Spoiler, I shouldn't have, but that's a different story. The door chimed, and a woman walked in. Mid-30s maybe, wearing a sundress despite it being October and maybe 40 degrees outside. Her feet were bare, dirty, like she'd been walking on gravel. But it was her eyes that got me. They were too wide, unblinking, like she'd forgotten how. "Hi," I said, trying to sound casual. "Cold night to be out without shoes." She didn't respond, just walked past the counter, past the aisles, straight to the back where the coolers were. I watched her on the security monitor. She stood in front of the beer section, perfectly still, for almost 4 minutes. Didn't open the door, didn't look around, just stood there, staring at her reflection in the glass. Then she walked out, never bought anything, never looked at me. The door chimed behind her, and I rushed to the window to see which direction she went. The parking lot was empty, not a car in sight, not a person, just the sodium lights buzzing and casting everything in that sick orange glow. I called Derek the next day, told him about it. "Yeah, we get weirdos," he said, sounding distracted. "As long as they don't steal anything or threaten you, just let 'em be. Night shift attracts strange." But that wasn't the end of it. 3 nights later, I had a customer come in at 2:33 a.m. Young guy, maybe my age, wearing a hoodie. Normal enough. He bought a Red Bull and a bag of chips, paid cash, left. I went back to scrolling Reddit on my phone. At 4:15 a.m., the door chimed again. Same guy, same hoodie. He bought the exact same things. Red Bull, chips, paid with what looked like the same crumpled $5 bill. "Didn't you just?" I started to ask, but he was already walking out. I checked the security footage the next day during my break. The timestamps were right there, 2:33 a.m. and 4:15 a.m. Same guy. But here's the thing that made my skin crawl when I rewound to the first visit and watched him leave. I could see him get into a blue Honda in the parking lot and drive away. The cameras caught it. He left. And then he came back, somehow, an hour and 42 minutes later, like nothing happened. Earl noticed I was jumpy the next time he came in. "You're starting to see it," he said, stirring his coffee with one of those tiny straws. "They come here." "Who?" "The things that slip through." He looked at me seriously. "This place, right here, it's thin. You understand? The walls between here and somewhere else. They're thin. Some places are like that. Gas stations, highway rest stops, 24-hour diners, places that never fully close, never fully sleep, the in-between places." That's crazy," I said, but my voice shook. Earl shrugged. "You'll see more, and when you do, my advice? Don't engage, don't stare. Ring them up if they're buying something, otherwise pretend they're not there." He left after that, and I was alone again with the buzzing lights and the feeling that the walls were pressing in. It all came to a head on a Saturday night, technically Sunday morning, October 28th. I'll never forget that date. The shift started normally. I had a couple of customers early on, including a woman who seemed irritated that we were out of her specific brand of cigarettes. Around midnight, it went dead. Just me and the hum of the refrigerators. At 1:09 a.m., the lights flickered. Not unusual, the store had shit wiring. But then they flickered again. And again. Each time lasting longer, until I was standing in complete darkness for 3, 4, 5 seconds at a time. During one of those dark moments, I heard the door chime. The lights came back on. Standing just inside the entrance was a man in a grey suit. Tall, maybe 6'3", with dark hair slicked back. He looked like he'd just come from a business meeting, except everything about him was slightly wrong. His suit fit perfectly, but it was spotless, no wrinkles, no dust, like it had just materialized on him. His skin was too pale, almost waxy, and when he smiled at me, his teeth were too white, too perfect, like a dental commercial taken too far. "Evening," he said. His voice was smooth but had this weird echo to it, like he was speaking in a large empty room instead of a cramped 7-Eleven. "Hi," I managed. "Can I help you find something?" Remember Earl's advice? Don't engage. But what was I supposed to do? This was my job. "I'm looking for something specific," the man said, walking toward the counter with measured steps. Each footfall sounded too loud on the linoleum. "Something you might have in the back. What's that?" He leaned against the counter, and I could smell him now. Not cologne or sweat or anything human. It was like ozone, like the air right after lightning strikes. It made my sinuses ache. "A door," he said simply. "A door?" "Yes. There's a door in the back of this building. I need you to open it for me." My mouth went dry. "There's just the storage room and the employee bathroom. Loading docks locked from the outside at night." His smile widened. "No, not those doors. The other one. You've seen it, haven't you?" I hadn't. At least, I didn't think I had. But as he said it, something tickled at the back of my mind. There was a door, wasn't there? Past the storage room, down a short hallway I never paid attention to. Old metal, painted that industrial green. No window, no sign. "I don't know what you're talking about," I lied. The man's smile vanished. His hand shot across the counter and grabbed my wrist. His fingers were ice cold, and his grip was wrong too many joints, like his fingers had extra knuckles. "Don't lie to me," he said, and his voice had lost all pretense of humanity. It sounded layered now, multiple voices speaking in unison, some higher, some lower, all of them angry. "Open the door!" I tried to pull away, couldn't. His grip was like a vice. The fluorescent lights above us started flickering again, faster now, turning the store into a strobe nightmare. In the rapid-fire darkness and light, I saw him change. His face elongated, jaw unhinging like a snake's. His eyes went completely black, reflecting nothing. Pure instinct took over. I grabbed the coffee pot from the warmer with my free hand and smashed it across his face. He shrieked this sound that wasn't animal or human, but something fundamentally wrong. His hand released my wrist, and I didn't think, just ran. Past the counter, past the aisles, toward the back. I could hear him behind me, hear things falling and crashing as he pursued. The back hallway was exactly where I remembered it, but had never consciously noticed. Past the storage room, past the employee bathroom, there it was. The green door. It had no handle, just a smooth metal surface with a small card reader beside it. How had I never seen this before? Behind me, the thing that wasn't a man anymore was getting closer. I could hear its breathing wet, ragged, coming from too many places at once. I slammed my shoulder against the door, and miraculously, it gave way. Not because it was unlocked, but because it wasn't entirely real. I fell through into darkness, and the door sealed itself behind me. Silence. Complete silence. I fumbled for my phone, turned on the flashlight. I was in a hallway, but not one that should exist in this building. The walls were concrete, unmarked, stretching in both directions further than my light could reach. Behind me, the door I'd come through was already fading, becoming translucent. From the other side, I heard scratching, then pounding, then that voice, all wrong. You can't hide in there forever. Sooner or later, you'll have to come back. I ran, didn't know where I was going, just ran down that impossible hallway until my lungs burned and my legs gave out. When I finally stopped, I couldn't hear anything anymore. No scratching, no voice, just my own breathing echoing off concrete. I found another door eventually. This one opened easily. It led to the parking lot of a different 7-Eleven, one I'd never seen before, in a part of town I didn't recognize. The sky was grey, dawn approaching, but everything felt off kilter, like looking at the world through a filter. So there you have it, my grandchildren. Another lost soul who wandered into the spaces between the thin places. They're out there, you know. Maybe you've been to one and didn't even realize it. That rest stop bathroom where the lights hummed too loud, that hotel hallway that seemed to stretch forever, that parking garage level where you could never find your car. The night shift workers, they know. They've always known. Now then, off to bed with you. And remember, if you work late, if you find yourself alone in one of those in-between places and something doesn't feel quite right, trust that feeling. Don't open doors that shouldn't be there. Don't talk to customers whose reflections don't quite match. And for heaven's sake, never ever work the night shift at a 7-Eleven on the edge of town. Sleep tight now, grandchildren, if you can. I quit via text message to Derek 20 minutes later. Never went back for my last paycheck. Never drove past that intersection again. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. Last week, I was scrolling through Indeed, looking at job postings. Saw one for a night shift position at a 7-Eleven. Different location, different part of the state. The listing said, quiet environment, perfect for self-starters. Must be comfortable working independently. Some unusual situations may occur. The manager's name listed was Earl. I didn't apply. So there you have it, my grandchildren. Another lost soul who wandered into the spaces between, the thin places. They're out there, you know. Maybe you've been to one and didn't even realize it. That rest stop bathroom where the lights hummed too loud. That hotel hallway that seemed to stretch forever. That parking garage level where you could never find your car. The night shift workers, they know. They've always known. Now then, off to bed with you. And remember, if you work late, if you find yourself alone in one of those in-between places and something doesn't feel quite right, trust that feeling. Don't open doors that shouldn't be there. Don't talk to customers whose reflections don't quite match. And for heaven's sake, never, ever work the night shift at a 7-Eleven on the edge of town. Sleep tight now, grandchildren, if you can.